Warning! Zombies. Are you ready for some zombies? I'm ready for some zombies. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTVpodcast for iZombie Season 4, Episode 1. Are you ready for some brains? Or some zombies? Not brains. You ready for some zombies? I'm ready for some brains.
There was a lot of brains.
Those brains that Liv made this episode looked fantastic, by the way. But I am Dom.
They look.
The chicken looked like spicy. It was spicy chicken.
Yeah.
Like I want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings right now.
Yeah.
I'm Dom. Joining me is Nikki and Kim.
Yeah.
And I really agree. They looked like boneless chicken wings. And they looked like they were coated in nice, spicy, like Asian zing style sauce from Buffalo Wild Wings for sure.
Definitely made me hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I obviously I don't eat brains, but I probably would have eaten those. Just throwing that out there.
Like, here, try this. Oh, that looks like chicken.
Probably would have, and then I probably would have hated the texture and spit it out instantly. But yeah.
No,
it's been fried, so it shouldn't have the same texture as
But it shouldn't have the same texture as chicken. So.
Well, no.
I mean, it would remind me of you remember old McDonald's chicken nuggets?
I hated those. So.
Yeah.
Well, because they're little. I wouldn't call them gooey. It's not gooey. Is not the word.
They were like not real.
Yeah.
Chicken. It was like gray.
It's like
gray
tofu.
meat. But tofu has a delightfully smooth texture.
Like a baby's bottom.
But I just want to say, Liv has made some very delicious looking things in the past too. Like last season, all the other seasons, there's been some dishes she's made where I question my sanity.
The brain chili.
To be completely honest, this is the first meal that Liv has made that I've gone, I want that. So,
But you're fussy, so.
I am. I'm extremely fussy. So.
It would make sense. You eat a lot of chicken, so.
I do. I do. Yeah, that was fantastic. I don't know. What do you guys think about this season now? Because it's just like we ended last season, and it's like, okay, zombies are public knowledge now. Here we are, out to the world. Boom, it's happening.
It was a big enough time jump that people have acclimated.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of frightening because they had to put up a wall so that the zombies...
Here we go again.
Yeah, exactly. But it was so that the zombies didn't spread. And they strategically kept humans in so that they wouldn't get bombed.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, makes sense. But, still, this whole, whatever they're, guillotines to, scare tactic zombies from spreading shit. And, it's they're, I can't. It's very, I want to say medieval-ish, where, they would just, Black Plague, where they pile up bodies and just burn them, and, there was,
the marking on the doors, and, very...
Yeah. It's... I don't know. I don't know if zombies have elevated civilization, or if they've taken, a million steps back at this point. They're obviously taking steps so that they are not going to take over the world and then their food source is gone. Obviously, they're playing that smart.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I didn't know it was going to be this far forward in the timeline. I didn't know that they were going to be this established.
So did you notice? I don't know, maybe I was going crazy, but it looked like when the brains were coming down in the beginning scene where we're seeing the brains come down it looked like there was it looked like there was a stamp on it, like a cow. Okay.
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the grade, just like the cow. You get the grade of the meat. It was the grade of the brain.
So you have genius brain that gets this stamp, and you get not so smart genius with this stamp, kind of.
Yeah.
That's
But
how they're
they're
grading
grinding them together, so it doesn't really matter.
They might grind them together in, like, they might grind all the grade A meat together and all the grade B meat together, so they might still get separated.
Oh, okay. I guess it makes sense.
I mean, but they're already having a shortage problem.
Oh, yeah.
They're watering down the brain packets that they're handing out, that they're rationing out. And they're giving people less and less to survive on. Like, we see that because, this girl, the girl's family, her name was Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Her family, all her younger siblings who have been kicked out of their house because their parents are assholes, are starving because there's not enough brains to go around.
Yeah.
And, there's only so many dead people a day. Like, people that die so that you can harvest the brains as fresh as you can. Like Blaine was saying, cemetery to whatever, fresh.
You hit a restaurant. That was interesting. You made a restaurant on a cemetery now.
Yeah. Well, because you're seeing Major, who he's having a lot of trouble still acclimating to the whole corporate world of it all, and then like getting him back to his roots with the zombie support group, was just like, it's a fantastic
group,
yeah. That was good, yeah.
Fantastic way for him to acclimate to it, because it's kind of what he's done before, and then it kind of gets ripped out from under him at the end when he's finding out he's just another tool to help climb the corporate soldier ladder.
When he figures out that ulterior motive that Fillmore Graves has.
Yeah.
When he figures out, oh, I'm a recruiter. Awesome. Not awesome, but okay. I guess I better do this because it's my job.
Yep.
Graves has really become a douche nozzle. Like, I kind of liked him at first, and then he just become worse and worse and worse.
Because he was the better of two evils at one point.
Well, yeah, he was, and I kind of liked that him and Liv got together, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then they get to the...
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I'm sure we'll get a lot of explanation on that. And, like, obviously, this is just the premiere episode of the season, and Major's a zombie again, and, Liv and him still had that, connection. So, like, they've been playing with our heartstrings between Major and Liv for, like, how many seasons now? 4?
Well, that's how that works, though. That's how, in any show, you have that relationship that goes the entire thing of the show, that you want them to get together, but they won't get together till the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know, like, I was shocked this episode with Ravi.
You know what? I kind of expected it, to be honest.
Well,
because nobody else is going to test this for him.
I expected it going into the episode, but then he's normal, and they don't address that he was a zombie, and I was like, okay, so he's not a zombie, because the last thing we saw was him getting scratched after eating the vaccination. Mm-hmm. Vaccination gum, or whatever the hell it was, I don't know.
Like a candy.
Yeah.
It looked like a chiclet.
Yeah. Well, it looked more like the square, like Bazooka Joe kind of style bubble yums. Is that what it was? Bubble yum? It was the cube, the big cube of bubble gum.
That's what.
No, chiclet's a
are
square.
A little bit thinner.
Yeah, it's like a flat square almost. Where this was, I'm thinking of like a cube. It's like a block of like cube, pink bubble gum.
Was it more cubey? I didn't.
It's kind of like when you get a meat and cheese tray and you pick the cheese and it's on a toothpick and you go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like that size. Yeah, and like he seemed fine, and I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's like going over this brain thing, and then he's like eating it, and I'm like, okay, this is like a slow side effect. Like, it took a while to manifest. It's been fighting inside his body, and now it's coming out. And here, but apparently this has happened already. Like, this is the 3rd time.
Yeah. I like how Liv called it his time of the month.
I almost thought at first that he was hiding it from her.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, so she knows.
But every time he's obviously trying to modify the the chemical, like the makeup of his vaccine. So he's getting Liv to scratch him over and over and over again while he's working out his formula, which, I mean, like I said before, nobody else is going to test this for him or be able to like be consistent or be able to handle what he's doing. Because even though he hasn't been a full-blown zombie, he understands it probably more than an actual zombie. He probably understands it way more than Fillmore Graves thinks they do.
Mm.
Like, if they were like, okay, Robbie, you're head of our scientific team, I feel like he'd be able to do a lot with that. I don't know if they would want him to cure everybody, but
well, I don't think
having those resources.
Mm-hmm.
I think they liked the zombie stuff. I don't think they. I mean, that was the whole point. That's why they turned everyone into zombies with the flu vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like this whole season. The vibe of the beginning of the season reminds me of the other CW show that we dealt with. Was it last year or the year before? Containment.
Containment. Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, I'm getting that vibe so far from this season. It's just like this is being treated as a virus, and they're locking everybody in, and it could be contagious. There's only, scratch, bite, sleep with, whatever, infect the person, and apparently there's corporal punishment for it. They have the melon smashing guillotine.
The guillotine, yeah.
It sort of reminded me. I was thinking like freaking Looney Tunes.
Acme. They should have Acme on the side.
Acme Anvil, yeah.
Yep.
But it's like how long until we start dealing with how many zombies are over the other side of the wall who made it through before the quarantine happened?
They did mention that people have been making it over.
Well, they said they said was
before the wall
was put up, how many humans got out. That's what they said. They didn't say anything about zombies. They never even alluded to the fact that there could be zombies outside the quarantine. Well,
actually, as a food storage becomes an issue, we might start seeing.
Yeah, and how long until people are trying to find a way over the wall? Like, yeah, they're guarding and they're monitoring the walls. This is just like containment, and then people started finding ways over.
The thing is, with containment, it was like this huge, like thick, overbearing wall, like where you would have to climb like close to 20 feet to get over it. They had this like, a deer could jump over the cement wall. They started having
people with like blow torches and stuff trying to cut through it. So there's all things they could. All it takes is somebody to drive like a truck, like a dump truck or one of these construction trucks that, Blaine's trying to get going, with his digging tools and stuff. Somebody just takes that and just rams it into the wall, and there's your opening.
He just said that somebody was using it for something they were having issues printing one with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, renting one, yeah, because they, like, what about digging under the wall, digging
I think
tunnels?
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening, and the fact is, like, maybe they're also, like, it's not just brain shortage, but, like, they are cut off from the rest of the world, too. Nothing's coming in, really. Everything that they're dealing with is whatever is inside those walls.
Yep.
I don't think they're getting shipments in of brains.
They might be.
I mean, they had that deal with, it was, like, the Philippines last season, or it was, like,
a couple different hospitals.
Third country or whatever, yeah.
So they had that going, but like when something like that becomes open and public and it's so controversial, like a lot of people, they put a lot of faith and like they have a lot of morals when it comes to their dead. So these hospitals and these third world countries who were shipping them initially probably got a lot of them probably got shut down, and like they got red flag, like no, it's not going to happen anymore. So right then and there, their shortage is cut off. I don't think they thought that far ahead, to be honest.
No, they didn't address whether that was an issue or not at this point.
No, they didn't. But I feel like that's a big part of the reason why they're having a shortage, why they've had to water down their brain tubes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Why they're not giving out so many to the zombies that are in the wall, and like, you know, why there are starving zombies. Like, that doesn't sound great. Like, I mean, we saw a starving zombie this episode, and believe me, I was not impressed. I was like, this is the type of zombie I cannot handle. That is disgusting.
He wasn't starving
Blaine's
zombie.
father.
He was in water zombie. I wouldn't call him exactly starving because he still was very confident in his head. But,
well, not really. He was kind of crazy.
Well, he was crazy because apparently everything that Blaine was telling him, he was saying was coming from God.
See, what Blaine was doing was keeping him on that cusp of going full zombie, like starving, where it's all animalistic and where he can still keep, you know,
Blaine was throwing stuff down the well for him to eat, right?
Yes. Yeah. But just enough to keep him at that cusp where he wasn't gonna go die, like starving. But, you know, he gets into that church and he's like, you know what? I'm getting hungry and you are a human priest. I'm going to kill you and feed the rest of the zombies in the room. And
making an army.
Yeah, let's not even. Like, I mean,
he's like a zombie prophet.
Yeah, he kind of is. And, you know,
Blaine
when he's...
was technically the voice.
Yeah, I don't even, like... I can't stand zombies that can run, that can keep up with you when you're running. The disease and the death, you could just see it. You could just imagine the smell. Like, I can't deal with that. And like the fact that he is almost at that point, he looks the part, and he can like rally other ones to come after you. Like, no. I was like shitting my pants at that point. Like, I was like, this is it.
I want to know how he grew a beard. I'm like, how does the hair and stuff still grow? I'm like, technically you're dead, so how does this go on?
I mean, there's got to be a part of a zombie that is still live. I mean, that's what undead means, right?
Because if they can turn them back, I guess they have to. So.
Well, doesn't your hair and fingernails still grow after you die?
No. That's not what happens. What happens is it appears like it still grows, but as the body, you know, gets gross and starts to... It shrinks. It decomposes and it shrinks and it makes things appear like it's still growing. There's that phase where after you die, if you're not properly embalmed, you bloat up and then like blood will start to pool and it makes it look like you're still alive. That's why vampires come into existence. They're like, oh, look, this body looks engorged with blood and there's blood everywhere and it's fat. It must have been out eating things. No, that's the first step of decomposition. And then there's the shrinking and the hair growing thing.
That's the same. We're gonna get really good. When with your certain coffins and stuff, that it doesn't let it breathe and there's no air. So basically, the body becomes a puddle of goo and literally oozes out of the coffin.
Yeah.
Let's get cremated. Fuck this.
I mean, you could also get those special tomb type coffins where you mummify instead of turn it into goo.
Well, you know how in in the supernatural universe, how you get a piece of the person left over, you know, and then they haunt everything. I want to be ground up and cremated, ground up, and my ashes put into thousands of pendants and shipped all over the place to people. So
you can just haunt all the places.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but but yeah, it's just you have that, and the rationing we were talking about, and you see how bad it's hurting the kids with their family, and how they find out the soldiers and stuff they basically have unlimited rations of being for soldiers, and I think that's why Major selected the two that he did.
Yeah, so that they could provide for themselves and their families.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the sole reason for his choice.
Yeah.
You know, the other people, not so much, you know.
Well, he also saw the one kid, he stood up for the other kids. So.
Yeah, he has a little bit more balls than Braun, let's say. Or brains? No.
And
I don't know.
I
I wouldn't call it brains, because they're dead, but they're zombies. But yeah, he definitely had a little bit more
He has a
gumption.
moral compass.
Yeah, he does. I feel like Major thinks he can also mold those kids so that they become stronger, better, smarter soldiers than the rest of the ones that are, doing black market deals and selling extra brain tubes out of the fucking factory and
The one kid that was a doofus.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we had like the subplot, which is really funny. That's a subplot with Liv on the sports brain, the sports fan brain.
The ending on her face was faded, and she's wearing the
Seahawks.
Green and whatever wig.
I mean, I don't like football. I especially don't like the Seahawks, and I especially don't like super fans that are super sportsy, like obsessive about this shit. Like I can't. Like this whole, I just wanted to strangle Liv. I was like, stop it, shut up.
When Liv was watching the game and she turned around in full face paint, I lost it because I was not expecting that at all.
I'm sorry.
That was the funniest scene to me.
I got to experience a lot of super fans where I live this past.
Oh yeah, Philly.
I mean, like the way I look at it is they're passionate about their hobby, and it's no different than people doing cosplay.
I get that, except I've seen some pretty violent. Like you saw.
Well, that's something completely different.
The competitiveness when you're just watching. I get, your team is better than my team, or my team's better than your team. I get that. But where it becomes like where people are literally hurting each other over this competitiveness is ridiculous. That's why I don't like it. That's why I don't want to encourage it. I understand a little bit of competition is healthy, but that is just
that's
overboard.
A whole different ballgame.
When I take a phone call and
mouth.
Someone specifically was like, "What team you rooting for?" and it was like scary, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't watch."
Yeah, just deter. I don't watch sports.
Just like it became the whole conversation with like when all the voting for presidency. I was like, I'm not telling you. I didn't tell anyone who I voted for.
Yeah.
I'm not getting in the middle of all that crap.
Nope.
Yeah. I mean
it was funny.
I was down one time in Fenway when the Boston riots were going on with cars and everything got flipped. It was crazy. It was really intense to be down there for that. Really, really crazy.
It's insane. Insane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This shit that happens at sporting events.
That's why I'm
that's
avid.
Different. That's different from being a super fan. No, that's not super fans that are doing that. That's a bunch of drunk assholes doing that.
Because they do it whether they win or lose, so it's like it's really stupid.
That's the alcohol.
That's true. The drunk, that some of that is. But I mean, there's still some hostility.
Oh yeah.
Just in general.
It's tied to the sport or whatever, but most people going to those games, they're watching their team lose and they're getting more and more upset and they're drinking more and more $10 beers, to the point where they can't walk straight after that, and the most people that are like that, when they get drunk they get aggressive. So I totally link that as two completely separate things. Like when I think of a super fan, it's no different than somebody being a cosplayer.
The thing I'm stuck on is the expensive beer. I'm like, I spend $10 on a shot of Patron in a bar. I'm like, $10 on a beer.
Yeah. No, I mean, for the sake of this episode, it was funny. I didn't enjoy the arguing between 49er Seahawk in the middle of a fucking interrogation. I was like, Liv, get the fuck out. There's a job to be done.
Stupid.
Like, I was that's where I kind of like where I was starting to get really aggravated, because it's like, when you're so supportive of your team, where it just takes over every aspect of your life. That's where it becomes the part of the superfan that I don't like.
Yeah.
When your walls are the logo, your whole fucking wall is a logo of your favorite sports team. No, that's starting to step out of my comfort zone. There's a boundary, and
says the girl with posters of her favorite games all over the wall.
I have many favorite games, and they are all over my wall because I have many favorites. Doesn't mean I'm like, I mean like people who.
I don't see her beating somebody over because of Warcraft.
I don't know.
No.
I've heard her get really mad at people that camp her body. I don't know.
Okay, that's different. And
oh, okay.
I don't PvP. How have you ever heard that?
I'm kidding.
You are not taking. No. This is different.
I'm just saying. See how quickly you could turn it around. That's my point.
I'm just talking like the obsessiveness is what is too much for me. And you could say, "Oh, you have posters. You must be obsessed." No, I'm not because.
What you like. Don't freaking scream at somebody else because they don't like what you like.
It's the same thing as religion and politics. Keep it to yourself, please.
No. This episode is dealing with sports, religion, and politics.
It really is.
It really is.
But like, this is a TV show, so I can accept it. I can get aggravated over it.
Let's talk about something lighter. Robbie walking around naked.
That's much later. I mean, he doesn't have any clothes on, and he's drinking tea and he's eating queso and chips. Like, damn, I wish I could live that life.
I forgot to check his Twitter. See, because he usually tweets funny stuff while the episode.
He tweets funny stuff on Instagram all
there's
the
so much stuff on
fucking
Instagram.
time.
Trying to figure out what's up with his mustache he's got going on right now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you were talking about the vibe going into the season, and it is odd. I agree with you. It's very, very different from what we got before, because before, there was always this facade, there was always this blanket over zombies, and nobody knew about them. But now it's open and it's public knowledge, and there's people who accept it, there's people who don't. It feels very real in a sense where it has to do with a lot of real, because zombies obviously aren't real. Okay, I'm gonna say that, and even though I'm irrationally scared of zombies, I'm gonna say zombies aren't real. But the things that we deal with in real life, it kind of mirrors what's going on as far as like.
So with Ravi during the episode, he goes, East Coast, iZombie Season 4 has started. I'm watching The Walking Dead, so I can't tweet. And then he comes back a couple hours later. He goes, hey, Chase Graves, Ravi called. He wants his hairstyle back. And then somebody took a screen cap of him behind the counter where he was covered. He had his shirt off, everything. And he goes, I'd like to thank McDonald's and Guinness for helping me reach my body goals. So, yeah.
No, that was definitely interesting. Because he seemed perfectly fine with it. Was like him and Liv together in the very final scene. He was all for Liv being whatever, and he was like, I'm gonna eat my queso, I'm gonna be naked, I'm fine and dandy, and she's yelling at the TV.
Yeah. Well, it was really interesting because we had, Ravi there with Peyton, and it's just like, ooh, this is gonna get weird. And then
it wasn't weird at all. Like, he was just all like, hey,
I know, but I'm thinking it's gonna get weird.
Brain.
It got weird later when it was Peyton and Blaine.
Mm.
Oh, because Blaine made it weird.
Yeah.
Blaine's in love with me.
Yeah.
In love with Peyton.
Yeah.
100%.
He wants Peyton, but there's no way.
I think Ravi's kind of over it.
What about Clive's girlfriend?
There was something going on there, but obviously they can't do anything anymore because she's a zombie.
Yeah.
And she loves it with her fucking council going on there. Like,
oh yeah, she's all about I'm a zombie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know, but like Liv and Major made it work for a long time.
That's true.
So
they didn't sleep together.
That is also true. So I don't know. Maybe Clive is gonna give in and
become a zombie.
I don't see it.
I think he's gonna be like the token human.
If there's anybody on this show that like I wanted to see as a zombie, it's Clive. Like I want Clive as a zombie more than I wanted Ravi ever. Because Clive has always been so weirded out by Liv, and is just like, I don't know what is going on, and then when he finally realized, and he's like, that explains everything, and then I would love to just see him become that, you know? And
now he's like gotta ring her in. Now it's like,
stop. Yeah, now it's a little bit different. I mean, before when things were still weird, it would have been entertaining, but now you see him. He doesn't like it, but he's almost as acclimated as everyone else because he's kind of had this, he's been ahead of the game, even though he didn't know it for the longest time.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time, though, before, like, because we're already dealing with the shortage now, and it's just, like, it's only a matter of time before there's no supply, and they've already realized that creating more zombies is not an answer, so they can't do that. They can't turn more people. Like, have they tried animal brains? Like.
Yeah. Blaine, when he owned the meat cute shop, they were messing around with cow brain and horse brain and stuff like that. But it doesn't provide anything for them. Because there's still something that the TV show hasn't addressed that the comic books have, because it's not only is it eating brains a physical thing to keep them sustained, but it's also a supernatural thing because they connect with other humans through like a soul presence. And I mean, I don't know if they're ever going to take that. I mean, maybe they will, because I know we've always been like, where's our zombie weenie? We're like, where's our zombie dog? Because that's always been a thing. And like, there's just like the whole talk of the oversouls, and that's something that
other supernatural creatures that are supposed to be
exactly. So, I mean, I don't know if that's ever gonna be a thing for the TV show.
Yeah. Well.
It would explain a lot where they're like, well, we can only eat humans. It's because it's not just we eat to sustain ourselves. It's also we eat to keep human, because humans can only connect with humans, kind of thing.
Because isn't it werewolves? So we have werewolves and others. I want to see. This is how I want to see this come about. I want to see how this whole werewolf thing comes about. Is that so? One gets, because are they human, or are they, or like where does that stand? Because
I mean,
one dies and then Liv has to eat the brain, and then wouldn't that be crazy?
Could you imagine her like humping legs and shit?
Who knows, or whatever? Like all
werewolves hump legs.
I mean, they're animalistic. They're dogs, right? Dogs hump legs because they have the urges.
Yeah.
Even female dogs hump legs. It's really weird. But no, I understand. But I mean, like the whole
whole wolf thing.
That werewolf thing. In whatever universe I've watched it, The Vampire Diaries, Supernatural, whatever else, it's always been that. How the hell did werewolves come to be? Is it magic? Is it genetics? Is it a mix? It's always been that question. Are they still how would, in this case, how would a werewolf brain affect Liv or another zombie that's eaten it?
If I remember correctly, though, in the comics, they were never werewolves. They were were-terriers, and they were more like terrier dogs than they were wolves.
I believe.
Were they animals or were they human? Like they were human.
They were humanoid, like terrier dogs.
Okay, so they're more dog than they are wolf.
Yeah.
I mean, but the question still stands, though. It still kind of follows the same. But that's like I said, like that's something in the comics that has been there pretty much from the very beginning that we have not addressed for so long, and I feel like the TV show has advanced so far along that I don't know if we're ever going to get that aspect.
Yeah, there was only one character in the comics He was known as Scott, and he was a were-terrier. He was Scott in his human form, and he was known as Spot in his were-terrier form. But we also had a were-jaguar.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like shifters. They're shifters.
They're kind of like, specific animal shifters.
Yeah.
So kind of like True Blood.
That's what I was going. Okay, so I was thinking too. So they could shift a little bit into other things too, but they mainly stuck to one.
Yeah.
Animal.
Yeah, this one, the were-jaguar, she shares the body with a jaguar, slowly turns into a human over the course of a year. She's only fully human once every year.
Oh, wow.
So it's a different, whole different thing. Like, they're different animals, so they literally are different.
Yeah, and then her husband, John Amon, was a mummy.
So like, there's so many other supernatural elements in the iZombie world that we've never even gotten a hint to.
Yeah.
Did they even
the slightest?
They didn't address very much in True Blood the were panthers. Like we saw like but it was like I don't. The books were a lot different than.
Well, yeah. So I don't know. There's still a whole lot that they could go because like right now I don't like the whole world knows about zombies angle. Like I don't like it. It takes me out of the immersion because like up until this point it's like this could be a real thing, because this could go on and it's a secluded thing and nobody knows about it and it's actually out there happening. But now that it's public and it's like everybody knows about it and it's quarantined, it's like True Blood in that regard where everybody's aware of it. And that's one of the reasons why I've never been a huge fan of True Blood. It's just
the
because
vampires
I don't.
Were out.
Yeah, I just don't like that.
It took a long time for the other creatures to come out.
Yeah.
They didn't bring out the shapeshifters until like towards the very end.
Yeah. No, I know, but I'm just saying like I don't like that whole aspect. I like the Vampire Diaries route of, it's a secret, nobody knows about it. Like maybe the town of Mystic Falls does, but it's the council that knows and not the whole town, they were never outed publicly as, this is out there. And things like that, and that always like breaks the immersion for me for supernatural type shows, and that's why I love Supernatural. It's because it's like that's another thing. Like all this stuff is going on, and the average person doesn't know about it. People in the know do. A lot of people know, and if one of those people were to come to you and tell you this is all real, you're gonna be like, yeah, okay, what are you smoking? But once it's out there,
what you smoking?
once it's out there, it just breaks the immersion for me.
I feel like this is going to be different because they are kind of attacking it as in the way of containment, where they put up the wall, where they're trying to separate the zombies from the rest of the world, because the zombies themselves are aware that if they spread, that eventually they're going to starve out because there's not going to be any humans left. So there is a different aspect of it that is kind of putting that twist on it. Whereas like vampires didn't give a shit. They just have this mindset where they're like, we are the top of the food chain. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
That's where True Blood was like stupid. But the fact that the zombies are aware that they themselves could fuck up the entire world and they don't want to, makes it a little bit, it makes it easier for me to handle, at least, because then, we're not having this, it's just going to blow out of proportion and, the control is just going to get lost here. And then, I see it kind of happening eventually because we are talking about food shortage and, even if humans have a food shortage and they just go a little bit crazy, it's been repeated throughout time since before Christ, if you want to say that, but like it's just like, zombies are elevated because of their need to stay alive more so than humans. So this is, I don't know, I like it, but I don't like it. I wasn't expecting it, that's for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I have some concerns going into this season, but we'll see how it gets addressed, because this has always been a fun show at the same time. So,
it's still fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's why there's some stuff that I'll possibly be able to overlook because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else from this episode that you guys wanted to cover? Or did we about get it all?
I think we pretty much got everything.
We got everything.
It's just me. I felt this episode went really fast. Like, what the
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It seemed really fast because there was a lot of information that we had to get real fucking fast. Like, oh, we're out. We're here. And then, they had to also give us the subplot and then the main plot to kind of mesh in together so that they could go forward.
So the next episode is called Blue Bloody. It's a real-life game of Clue for Liv after she eats the brains of a despicable dowager and must determine which one of her disgruntled servants killed her. Clive and Bazio are struggling to maintain a healthy relationship. Meanwhile, circumstances place Major and Liv in opposition to one another.
Oh, great. But, that's to be expected because of his work with Fillmore Graves.
Yeah, and she hates him.
Yeah. She's not... She doesn't like their motto.
Nope. Alright, so that about does it. Nikki, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
Excellent. Kim, where can people find you?
On Twitter at HUFFITYPUFFI.
I just want to say we did not address Major behind you right now, and just like the kind of like the confused look Liv has, like, why are you naked and who are you? Why are you in the same room with us?
Yeah, what are you in the same room as them for? You can find me in the morgue at Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM.
Because he's naked, so when there's somebody naked, you just walk in and pose yourself.
You can find us all on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, and right here on YouTube at /ASOTVpodcast and Twitch, and down below in Discord. For some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows, games, and movies. Until next time. See you guys later.
Make me sound like a peeping Tom or something.
No, you're a peeping bee.
A peeping bee.
Yeah.
A buzzing bee.
Fly on the wall.
She wishes.